Ready.
Set.
Gamecast.
Welcome to Ready Set Gamecast, a bi-weekly podcast about video games and Halloween horror. I'm Matt, and I'm joined by, back from the dead himself, Teddy Chinaris.
Returning host / founder, which is not how that works, but hey man, if you're one of the original 3 hosts of a show, you're kind of a founder.
Yeah,
you know? So,
I would say you're a founder.
What's up? I don't remember when my last episode was, but
I feel like it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I don't know. But I'm here, I'm guesting. Darian was supposed to be here, but she's an old little sleepyhead.
She's off, like, riding a broom or something, doing witchy stuff, casting spells.
It's possible. Yeah. It is that time of the year.
Bryce is just, he's a ghost. Disappeared. An apparition.
Is he? I think we know exactly where Bryce is. Bryce is doing his Extra Life stream right now.
Yeah, Bryce is doing his Extra Life charity stream right now as we record this. So if you're listening to this, you should go check out the VOD on Twitch at Last Geek Plays. You can always donate. I think the donation link's live all year and it all accumulates. So go do that. Give some money to charity, to Extra Life. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. I think he's playing Beat Saber to Shrek, which means like every line of dialogue, every little thing in that movie.
It's like the whole Shrek movie.
Later in the day, I'm joining him to play some Among Us. I think, Teddy, you said you might be there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to as well, which is exciting because I haven't played that yet. Yeah. I just haven't had a group, but that's going to be fun.
So he might break that out on YouTube if it's some good stuff. So yeah, check out the VOD, check out YouTube for that.
Yeah, legit, check out the VOD. He has 14 different games and segments planned for the whole time. So he actually formulated a plan.
Yeah, he has all sorts of planned stuff and incentives. I think the Shrek thing was a previous incentive. Like if he had raised enough money to this point, he would sit there and swing his arms for 2 hours.
God, 2 hours.
Yeah, but for us, we're holding it down here. Teddy, what have you been playing lately?
Okay, see that it's I'm not gonna go through everything I've been playing since last week.
That's fair. Yeah, since we last spoke, that's
I was thinking about that. I was like, oh man, that would be a lot. I don't know. This last week or so, I've been playing a lot of Genshin Impact.
I've heard of that.
Right now, I just want to throw out what I've been playing before I talk about any of them, maybe. I got back in Destiny 2 for a night, but I want to play more because, I have a fellow streamer who has been playing it for the first time, and he's really liking it, and watching him experience all of it for the first time is oh man, it's so much fun, so it makes me want to get back in. And every year, for some weird reason, I always get back in right around Festival of the Lost, which is the Halloween event, and that's happening right now. So I'm I should do that. And the expansion is November 10th.
Okay, I was going to ask
you, a little less than a month away.
Drop. Yeah.
So there's definitely some stuff I want to finish. There's so many things that I started this season that I wanted to have done by time. No way. It's not possible anymore. I got some of it done though. I went back because I stopped playing that game for a while. I've never fully been in Destiny 2 like I was Destiny 1 just because of, I was in college and then moving out and getting a job and all this stuff. Destiny 1 was just the perfect time for me.
Yeah.
And also, when the PC release came out, absolutely split my groups of friends of people who I play normally. So, I haven't always been fully into it.
Yeah.
But I've missed a lot of older stuff, and now with I don't think you guys probably haven't talked about this. I don't know. Maybe I was still on when this happened, but there's a thing called the Destiny Content Vault.
Right. Okay. I've at least heard of this.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff is not going to be attainable, at least in the ways that we know of them to be attainable now. So I was trying to get all of the exotics before before
Right.
that happened. A lot of the exotics are not going to be attainable anymore.
Back
so.
when I actively played Destiny 1, many years ago at this point, which is kind of ridiculous to think about, that was like the
Beyond
main...
Light has that Cosmodrome coming back, baby.
Yeah, so that's what I heard, is like in this
next year.
new content, like Vault is coming back or something, and Cosmodrome's coming back.
Yeah, Vog's next year.
Okay.
Like early next year, I think they said.
But like, yeah, pursuing those exotics was kind of the main driving thing once you hit max light, because there wasn't,
Yeah, and it's still, like, at this point, there's so much shit to do in Destiny 2 that that's not exactly how, like, Destiny 1 very much was, like, get to max power and light and the armor that you want and whatnot, and then, it really is trying to get all the exotics, for sure. That was a lot more of the game in Destiny 1, and it's also because exotics in D1 were a lot harder to get, and random a lot of the time. But D2's like, it is still like that. But for me, it very much was like that when I got into the game again a couple months ago, because one, the stuff is going to be unattainable anymore. And then two, it was like, there's so many older exotics, even that are just tied to quests that I haven't done.
Yeah.
That I just don't have, that like I can do. I just hadn't done it. So I kind of sat down and tried to prioritize exotics and like get all this stuff, because a lot of the time I go back, I step away from the game, I come back and I'm like, oh, look at all this new stuff. Let's play the seasonal activity and whatnot. And then I don't really end up like actually getting the stuff I want. Destiny 2 is so overwhelming because there's so much shit that I really do have to just prioritize and be like, okay, I'm doing this. This is my goal. Like, I gotta be really forward about that.
How would you say Destiny works as a casual, like at this point it sounds like you're more of a casual player of Destiny, and
yeah, sadly,
when I was in, it was like
to not
Destiny is my game, right? It's my basically an MMO. It's I'm gonna sign in and play like 3 hours a night kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
it still would be if I could and if I had the time, but I just haven't in a while. And to be fair, a couple of months ago, it was like that again for me for like 3 months. And that was just good timing with everything too, because quarantine was like, I was laid off and like there's nothing too much I could do. I was at home, so it kind of worked like Destiny 1, but I was only
I guess
for
like
a few months.
How does balancing, like, part of what I was trying to get at was like early on, it always felt like there was this core contingency of players who were like, there's not enough stuff in this game for how much I play it. And they were always like, hey, play other games. And from now what you're saying is like, you're kind of coming to it more casually, and now there's like so much stuff in the game that it's like
every time I come back, I'm like, oh shit. Like, because when I do come back, I don't finish everything.
Right.
So then that just piles up more. Like but just overall, there is so much more. Like, I'm not as involved or following. I haven't listened to the Destiny community podcast in forever, but I used to listen to all of them. So I don't know what they're saying these days, but I do try and stay in tune with the community and whatnot. And there definitely has been a little bit of a lull of like, we're taking a little bit off, but that's straight up because the expansion got delayed. So it's like, normally right now, we'd be in Beyond Light, like right when everybody finished other stuff. Like they actually, which is crazy because for the first 3 years of Destiny 1, it was like, oh man, they can't nail this. They have absolutely gotten into a pattern of where they can nail the content of big expansion of fall, 4 seasons throughout the year, like quarterly. And the seasonal stuff it's kind of insane when I think back on Destiny 1 and like what I wanted. Like, Destiny 2 is absolutely what I wanted from that game back in the day. Like, there is a weekly story mission that over the course of the season has evolved, and it is a new mission. And like, I remember, I think it was it was the one before this, like, there would be cutscenes. Like, one week you do the weekly story, and instead of like a big DLC drop, they just release them as they're made, or release them very like
That's
sprinkled
really cool.
throughout. Like, like at the end of the season, you could look up a playlist of like the story for that season, because if you're not actively playing it, you'll kind of miss out, which there's pros and cons to. But as somebody who really likes that game and who, if I could, I would be in it like all the time. It's super cool because it absolutely keeps you coming back. And yeah, they just dropped new, like there was, so this season, or in every season, there's a title that you can get for like seasonal activities and stuff. And I had done everything that I needed to do that was available for that title, but there was still like 3 triumphs that a couple of them were secret, and then there was one that was like complete these 3 quests, and they were all exotic quests, and one was still left. And it was just like, oh, well, that's not in the game yet. And then I just waited, and then eventually they're like, oh, you log in on a Tuesday, and that quest starts. And I'm like, now I have to go and get that, because then I'll get the title. And it's like, it's so crazy that they have really nailed to where they can sprinkle content throughout. It's really awesome.
Part of me, like, I don't know.
I'm telling you.
Part of me wants to get back in.
You have a group?
But there's those other...
Ball boys? We're here for you.
Yeah. I don't know. There's always like, should I get back on the horse? Like, Overwatch is probably another one of those.
Yeah. I am very excited about Beyond Light because of the content vault. Like, their whole reasoning for it is like, our game has become too big and there's too much bloat, and like, we can't manage all of this. And that is absolutely fair, because there's so much shit from like year 1, year 2 that's weird, there's no reason to do it, but it's still in the game. Like, I really hope that they do like condense all of this down, and it is just everything that is there has a reason for being there. It is almost all relevant, or I just want there to be incentives to do a lot of the stuff in the game, whereas now you really have to like log in and know what you're doing and know where you're going and prioritize and whatnot. Whereas in the fall, I really hope it is just like most of this is relevant. I should send this to you because I think you'd like it. Have you seen the image of what the directory is going to look like in the fall? Because it's very like Destiny 1 aesthetic too, which makes me so happy. It's great. But yeah, they're vaulting a bunch of old stuff, and like the Vault of Glass. The whole idea with the content vault is like every year there's like a refresh, and they take out a lot of the older stuff that's, I think they said, is at least 3 years old. So they're not like ripping you something that you just paid for, and they're bringing back stuff that could be from D2, could be from D1, just like, but reimagined in the current year and stuff like that. So I think it's really neat that Vault of Glass is going to come back, and they're like, they said that Vault of Glass is early 2021, and it's going to be like reimagined with the current system that is a new thing with like champions and like different. It's really neat. I'm excited. Bring back Wrath of the Machine eventually. Woo!
Yeah, that's a good raid too.
That's what I'm talking about.
That was a good one.
Wrath is my favorite. But yeah, let me see if I can find
I always had a special spot for Crota.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day when I was playing. I was like, oh man,
people
they're
love
eventually going to bring
Crota. Like, that's the worst one or something. But it's like, that's also the only one that you could like solo or do deathless. Like,
dude, I wonder if they bring that back, or well, which eventually they will, I'm sure. I wonder if they're gonna like make it longer, like add another encounter. That would be fucking cool. That would be a cool kind of thing. But that's like the idea of what they're doing is like, improve on it and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's really neat.
One tangentially related Destiny thing. I just want to say congratulations to Deej. He announced he is wrapping up his time at Bungie. He has been there for like a decade, I think.
9 years.
9 years. I feel like I remember reading his forum posts on Bungie.net back in the Halo days. So, like, he was a community manager before I feel like that title existed, where, now it's pretty much every public-facing game job is community manager at this point. So, I mean,
I read that and sent off like a congrats and thank you for everything you've done kind of thing. And it's definitely the way he phrased it is like, it's totally good news, totally like it's totally fine and all that. But it legitimately made me so sad. I was like, oh, Like, it kind of messed up my day. I was like, no, Deej. But like the people that he has put in there, like Cosmo's been there for years at this point. Damage is relatively recent. I think there's another one too. Like, and they've all been awesome. Like, I met Damage at Guardian Con. Like, they've all been really, really great. And like his letter said, he said something along the lines of like, you're good at your job when you have trained people and built a team so that they're totally fine when you leave.
Right.
I'm
Like, he
yeah.
was, I think, the only one right before Cosmo came on.
Oh, he
So-
was the only one for at least the first 2 years of Destiny. I
Right.
think.
And Cosmo was the one that he founded like the Destiny subreddit and was moderating there. And
yeah.
So then they brought him on. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Like, that's a way to a job, you know?
Yeah, I think the most recent one was also something similar. I think there's 3, but they alternate on like who writes the This Week at Bungie and whatnot. So he's definitely been, in hindsight looking back, it's like, oh yeah, he's been trying to train people.
Right. I wonder if
get
he's been
more
working
people
on
in
like
that
other
role.
projects. Yeah. Like, not
Yeah,
so
maybe.
much day-to-day community stuff, but congrats.
The way he phrased it too sounds like maybe it's not even gaming of like where he's going next.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah. But yeah, it made me sad. Congrats though. I'm trying to think other things that I played. I don't know. I'm excited to play Ghost of Tsushima Legends. I have a group that we're gonna play that on Sunday.
Okay, that's the multiplayer DLC
Yeah,
or
it came out
add-on.
yesterday. Yeah, which is very weird.
Is
but
it the same?
exciting.
It's the game, but there's just an option to play multiplayer, or
No, it's an entirely like new thing.
Oh, okay.
There's 2-player co-op story missions where there's like a whole campaign, and then there's 4-player co-op survival, and then in a couple weeks they're releasing a raid, as they call it, which is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's so weird. When they first announced that, I told my friend Eric, I was like, it would be as if Destiny or Bungie, if they released a full, like, instead of releasing Destiny, they released a full thing in the Destiny world of like a Halo campaign, just a single player, cinematic, crazy music. And then a couple months later, they were like, oh, and also here's Destiny for free.
yeah.
Like, that's what this sounds like. It's so weird. But I'm excited to try it out. I've heard good things. There's apparently a lot of content there.
That's pretty cool.
And Genshin's great, but I feel like I should talk about that later.
Okay, yeah, we can
should save that.
hold that
Genshin's
for a little bit.
Amazing.
Were you ever into Animal Crossing this year? Did you get on that train?
Not for more than like a week.
Okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
checked out the current seasonal stuff because I got the Halloween related event going on.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat, you know. You harvest your pumpkins. You can get candy. I don't know what to do with the candy. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be giving it to people or hoarding it or not. I don't know.
Try and give it to
But
people.
you can
See what they
buy a candy from the store each day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've harvested some pumpkins and crafted some stuff. I think on Halloween, whatever the guy's name is, Jack. I think it's like Jack-o'-lantern is coming to like
That's great.
grade me on my Halloweenness. I also jumped into Fall Guys Season 2. Have you?
No, but I need to do that.
The thing I most noticed was like the visual updates to that game. Like they took, anything that maybe like in I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's like where the tiles fall out as you're running and you have to like pick the right path.
Hexagon.
No, not
Yeah.
Hexagon, but Hexagon
Oh.
also. Anything where it's like a platform you stand on that was just a plain color before, they now added like nice little texture and like shiny
Oh.
bits too, and like yeah.
Ooh.
So I feel like there's a lot of like
Okay.
subtle visual updates to the game that I really like.
I would not have even known that. That's that's crazy.
They added Tiptoe was the one I was thinking of, where it's like the orange tiles. They added
Yeah.
a new like tag, like you can earn a title. That's like a new, I guess, vanity thing. And there was something else they added. I can't think of it right now. But there are a couple new customization things in the pass and that you can get from the store. I only managed to get one of the new game modes, which was the one where you push the you push the blocks around and you're trying to climb over the walls. So it's like,
Yeah.
a lot
God,
of
I'm
people
sure
aren't
that's
doing
chaotic.
anything and waiting for you to push them closer to the wall to climb the wall.
And then they just jump.
Yeah,
Steal your
I
spot.
made it through. It was pretty good.
Nice.
I was at the first or second wall, and I was like, okay, I'm in last place right now. But it's one of those things where I think a lot of Fall Guys has like a nice kind of comeback mechanic to it, where everyone else has done the work for you already, so you can just kind of advance.
And then everybody who did the work gets screwed over, and they're like, damn it. Yeah. That's the problem. I was just thinking about that. That is the problem with games like games that update that you're not playing constantly that you like and you want to check out the update. Like, I would love to try that, but I mainly just want to try the new mode.
Right.
And, you could play that for a while and never get it. Like,
right. Yeah, I
for
played
a
like
while,
4 games before I got one. Yeah.
Yeah, like I played a lot of Rogue Company earlier this year, and they've added a bunch of stuff. Like soon they're adding a ranked mode, which is what I really want, so I'm gonna have to get back into that. But they've added like different maps and whatnot, and it's like, oh, let's hop on and try out the new map. And then it's like I never got it. I played for like 2 hours and never got the new
never
map.
got that
And I
map
was like,
in rotation.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Another thing Fall Guys added was like a separate playlist. So there's the main game show playlist, and then there are short-term different modes. So the one that was going when I was playing the other day was like only races. So
That's cool.
It only had the race modes. So like it ended on Fall Mountain every time, and it went through a bunch of just the elimination
That's awesome.
race modes. So like they're playing with that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I think that game they're making a lot of good changes. I don't think it's like, I don't know. It's a party game at the end of the day, right? Like it's never gonna be like super competitive, even if there is like competitive fringes to it. But
yeah, I always find it super interesting. Like I've just been listening to a lot of podcasts over these last like couple of months, and I've been going, even when I ran out, I've been going back through like old Beyonds and Unlocks and whatnot, and just podcast conversations, man. Some of them that the video game industry has frustrates me. Like Fall Guys, there was a big conversation when that game came out. It's like, oh, is this gonna be the next Fortnite? Is this good? And I'm like, guys, that's not what the game is. Like, and they know that, the devs know that, like everybody knows it's a party game. Like it's fun and people are gonna like it, but Fortnite is like ultimately it's a shooter. Like it's competitive. Like you can get into that, and sure it's battle royale, but you can absolutely get into that and know the stats of each gun, and like it's not just like there is skill to Fall Guys, but there's also luck. Like that's a big part of it.
yeah, it's a lot more of a Mario Kart than a Fortnite, if that
absolutely
makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you played Hades at all?
Oh yes, I want to play more.
I'm
not
in that
enough.
same boat where it's like
I played like one night, but it was for a good 3-4 hours something.
I probably played 3 or 4 sessions of it. I most recently played a couple nights ago and was like, oh, this is only like my 15th run. Like I just hit that, and I was like, okay, because I see people that are like, I've beaten the game, I've completed the game 10 times or something like that, and it's just like, wow, I am not getting past the second boss consistently.
Yeah, it's like it is difficult, but I will say the one thing that's kind of surprised me is how long the runs are. The runs are pretty long. Like it's not like Rogue Legacy or something where they're pretty short, like 15 20 minutes. Like they can be lengthy, and that's not even getting that far.
Right.
Like, I wonder how long a run is like to beat it.
I don't know, because I average like now that I feel like I've seen some improvement and I'm more consistently getting to the Hydra boss, that takes me probably 15 to 20 minutes every run, somewhere in there.
Yeah. What weapon are you using?
I'm just using the sword right now. There's some cool other options. The shield's kind of neat. I haven't unlocked everything.
I like the shield. I think that's my second favorite other than the sword.
I don't know. I just want to beat it once with the sword and keep that, like, just get used to that. I feel like I'm not as taken with it as a lot of people seem to be. And I don't know that that's anything to do with, like, I think it's just, like, at its core, I think the combat is good. The combat's tight and feels good, but maybe it's not my favorite style of combat.
Yeah.
Where everything else around the game, like I like the progression and the unlocks. I love the character-driven, relationship stuff. It's not like dating sim, but it's like, you're still building relationships with characters and they have new things
Which
to
is
say to
crazy.
you. Yeah. So like everything around the game is like, wow, this is really well executed. But I think, and like even the combat and even like the abilities and stacks and buffs you can get while you build your run, that's all really cool. I just don't know that like it's my favorite style with the like third person isometric twin stick stuff. Like I prefer, I think, Dead Cells kind of to Hades right now, I guess, if I was gonna pick a
Just
roguelike.
mechanically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
it's a totally great game. It's just like, I don't know. That's just how I feel.
It's totally fair. It's that kind of stuff is personal preference, but like the game itself is incredibly polished.
Yeah.
And it blows me away. I'm like, why? Doesn't need to be this. But it's awesome.
Yeah. Another game I took a little bit of time playing was Drake Hollow. And this is on Game Pass that I've been playing it, and it's almost like a little bit like Fortnite before they added the BR, where it's like kind of tower defensey in like a base building way, and then you're also going out and exploring and collecting resources to build up your base further.
Which, by the way, that Fortnite mode's still not free.
Really?
Remember when they said that was gonna be free in like 2018?
Oh wow.
I'm pretty sure. I don't. I'm last I checked.
Huh.
Which is weird. Just throwing that out there.
And the core of Drake Hollow is there are these creatures called drakes, and they're kind of little vegetable-looking guys. And they have different abilities that they can give to you. So like right now, I think I have an active ability that's like you have 20% increased luck or something. Some of them are like 10% increased critical hit damage and that kind of thing. So you're kind of farming these drakes and then managing them in like resources as like food, water, happiness sort of thing while you build your base up. Your base gets raided every once in a while, so there's a reason that you have to come back to defend it, but otherwise you're kind of going out and exploring the world and collecting resources. And it's pretty neat. I feel like it's in this like it's that perfect like Game Pass game, right? Where it's like, I don't know that I would have bought this, but since it's here and I have this service, it's free to me because I already pay for this, so I will download this and check it out. It's got co-op.
There's a lot of good Game Pass games like that. It sounds like it, for sure.
What else you got? You want to talk Genshin? Or do you have something?
I can. I see. Oh, man. It's. I was going to talk about it more when we got to the news stories, but like, man.
I mean,
it
leads right into it.
That game itself. Yeah. We'll wait a bit. And when we're in the news, I know that will force me to not gush about it for 10 minutes. So it'll keep me more contained. Game's great, though.
I mean, can you just give me like a little like what am I gonna expect? I download Genshin Impact on my phone or on my PC or my PlayStation.
I would suggest PC
and it's like, hey, this is a mobile game that looks like Breath of the Wild.
It's
that's about collecting anime boys and girls.
Okay, it's okay. Oh my god. Okay, so this is another podcast discussion that people have been having about this game that has frustrated me, specifically on the Kind of Funny Gamecast recently, where they were talking about it. Like Imran was giving his impressions, and he played about like 20 hours, which is probably about what I've put in. And then Blessing was talking about it too, but he only played like an hour maybe. And the whole discussion, which I found so disappointing, and they did this on the Game Scoop too, on IGN Game Scoop. Like the whole discussion was about like, how does it compare to Breath of the Wild? Like, is it that like it does this, but it doesn't do this as good as Breath of the Wild? It's not, but that's not the game. Like, the game itself is a single player open world like JRPG kind of story. It's not a Japanese developed game, it's a Chinese game, but like it's very like Tales when it comes to the story. That's it. Like, it's not Breath of the Wild. Like, it's it borrows Breath of the Wild's art style a lot of the time, the exploration, and the stamina and the gliding. Like, that's it. Like it's just the exploration, really. It's the exploration, the art style. Like the game itself is very much its own world, its own story. It has a story. The whole combat, the whole gear system, the whole leveling your characters, collecting characters. It's totally a different game. And everybody talks about it like, oh, how does it compare to Breath of the Wild? It's like, dude, you're not gonna like it if you come in being like, oh, here's my Breath of the Wild clone, because it's not that.
So from some of the stuff I've seen from watching people stream it a bit, I think like from what you're saying, like the exploration stuff, but there's the idea of the in-world, in-environment puzzles, which is like a very Zelda thing.
Yeah, for sure. Those are there. Like, I guess I've heard people compare the domains to like shrines, but they're way more. Like there are like around the world kind of shrines, but there's a lot less of them. Domains are a lot more rare than shrines, like 100 shrines or whatever in Zelda. And the domains are a lot more of like just straight up dungeons. Like a lot of them are just, some of them are literally challenges, but they're usually combat challenges. And some of them are like a shrine, but they go a lot further and they're a lot longer of like a kind of zone. A lot of them are tied in with story and whatnot. But yeah, I guess those are somewhat similar to shrines too.
And as far as the combat goes, I know you said it's like different because
it's very different.
I see. Watching people play, I was like, oh, this kind of has the same combat as Zelda, is what I was thinking. Oh god,
absolutely. That's the one thing. Is like, no way. The combat is 4 characters that you can constantly switch at any time between.
Right.
So the whole idea is there's 9. I think it's 9. I don't know. There's 7 to 9 elements that each character can have. I think on my team I just have like I don't know. I have water and electric and fire and usually one other random one. But the electric and the water characters that I have work really well together. It's kind of like Spellbreak if you've played that.
Yeah.
BR where the elements work together.
And I think that point right there, right, is also why you get comparisons to Breath of the Wild, because it's like the whole idea of you can kind of physics and chemistry things together.
Yeah, but like that's like Breath of the Wild. You throw, it's raining, it's like storming, and you can throw a sword at somebody, and if lightning hits the sword, but like, when the fuck's that ever gonna happen? Very rarely. Very rarely. It's not a thing you can really control. Like, elements in that game do work together, but it's not like in Genshin Impact is literally, you have an electric character. It is very MMO when it comes to the combat a little bit, but like the combinations is super unique. I've never really played anything like it. Like, my electric character has a raven that you send out, and the raven will periodically like shoot things, and it will shoot with electric. And then I will switch over to Barbara, who is my water character, and her basic attack does water. And if they're already electric, which you can tell with a little symbol above their head, and you shoot them with the water, they'll be like electrocharged or something like that.
Yeah.
Might be superconducted. It's one of the 2 words. And it'll do extra damage, and it will like chain to enemies around them and whatnot. So it's just like, I'll toss my bird out, switch over to Barbara, and then like, or I'll get them wet with Barbara, and then switch over to Fischl, who has the bird, and throw the bird out, and then her like charge bow attack does electric. So it's like, it's a lot of stuff like that. If you get them wet and then switch over to a cryo character, it freezes them. I think water and electric and fire also work together really well. There's a lot of elements that, like, there's apparently nature. I don't even have a single nature character yet, so I haven't experienced that. But like, the way that this stuff works together is so cool.
Yeah.
And I keep discovering more, and it's awesome. And it's built like that intentionally to like give you combos and make
that's kind of like
fun.
what you're saying with like Spellbreak has that sort of thing built into it too. I think that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's going to become a more common type of. It's like Pokemon, but in real time.
Yeah, for sure. I could see more people doing that. It's one of my favorite things about the game is the combat. Like, it's so fun. But it's also incredibly RPG and incredibly Destiny. And it is a... What you have to take into account is that it is a free-to-play game made by a mobile developer. So there is a gacha system, but from what I've read from everyone who has played a lot of it, like more than me, and from my own personal experience, you only hit any sort of wall of like you're incentivized to pay or something like that at like adventure rank 30, and when your characters are like rank 60, which is 30 plus hours into the game.
Okay.
Like it is free to play, and it's so polished. Like the music is incredible, the visuals are amazing, the voice acting is surprisingly good. Like everything is voice acted.
Yeah.
Like there's over 23 playable characters that all have their own unique abilities and like attack animations and weapons and elements. Like it's crazy. The more I play it, the more I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this free?
Yeah.
This should not be free, but it's great. It's very good.
I haven't downloaded it yet. I don't know. I've been tempted to a couple times.
So good.
I think what would get me on is the exploration and like the world puzzles and that kind of thing. And I think what would lose me is just the anime trappings of it. I think at some point I'd be like, this isn't for me.
You can definitely, I've been like, I don't know, I really like the game a lot, so that has made me enjoy the story more of like, I don't know, I'm more invested where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this is silly in anime, but you tell me about the lore, tell me about these visions and whatever the fuck, these dragons. But you can like skip through a lot of that and still get the gist of what's going on and move forward and whatnot. And there are a lot of like side quests, and I don't know, there's like I don't want to do this because everyone just keeps comparing it to Breath of the Wild, but like there's way more story, and it's just it's a different game when it comes to that. Like it's very much a it's an RPG. Like there's a actual story, and apparently they have like 7 regions planned for the game, and there's only like 2 of them in there right now. And
I might have to get this game.
Yeah, I haven't even been playing a ton the last couple of days, but there's still like, because it's very much an MMO like in a weird single player RPG way. There's like daily quests that you can do, and those take like 10 to 20 minutes. So a lot of the time I'll log on and knock those out. And you can send your characters on expeditions, which makes them go AFK for 20 hours, and you can't use those characters, but they come back and give you loot. Like it's those kind of systems. Like it's a bunch.
I'm not a fan of that system in particular, but that's okay.
Oh, see, I like those. But you get so many characters. Like I don't use Lisa and Bennett, and you can only send out 2 characters. And so I just send them every 20 hours and they bring me back loot. Yeah. It's fine. You know? But it keeps surprising me with how polished it is. Like, I don't know. The music and everything, it's crazy how much is in this game. And I was talking with one friend who was like so worried about the wall that you're gonna hit. Yeah. And like, oh man, I was like, but why are you so worried? You're not even close to that. Like, have you finished the story? Like,
it's just like there's impending
a big
doom,
story
though, right?
quest.
Like, just I'm gonna drop off at this point, and I know it, kind of thing.
Yeah. But it's also like, I don't know. Maybe if that ever happens, like they're apparently going to change the systems to where like the wall that you hit at 30 is like you're done with most of your story quests and side quests and whatnot, and you're just using daily commissions, which are the daily quests, and replaying like the domains, so like the dungeons, for either grinding for specific loot or whatever, or just trying to get XP to level up. And because each character you level, and when they get to a certain level, you need a certain material to ascend them to let them go past the next 20 levels. So it's a whole like, and you can level and ascend weapons and armor. So it's like there's so much stuff to grind for, which is cool. But apparently when you hit that level, you can only grind a certain amount per day because it requires resin, and then you run out of resin, you can do that, right? But they've talked about how they want to change the resin system and make it more so that you can do more per day. But even then, my friend who's freaking out about that, I'm like, even then, I've played 30 hours of this game at least. I've enjoyed the heck out of my time, and I still get to play a little bit each day.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. Like, I'm all right being limited. Like, that's fine. It kind of keeps me coming back. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I really like the game. And I think everybody should play it.
Yeah,
Legitimately,
it's free,
like,
and it doesn't, like...
Yeah.
Have you put money
on
in?
my list of Game of the Year candidates? It is number 3. Like, it's legitimately a Game of the Year candidate to me.
Have
like,
you spent any money yet?
No. Actually, I forgot. I have. But I did the because like there's also a battle
pass. Okay, yeah.
I bought the battle pass because I was like, you know what, I am really liking this game. I'm not gonna buy any like loot box or any of the wishes.
If you put like 5 or 10 hours into a game, and yeah, how much is a battle pass? Like $10? Yeah, like at that point, I don't know. You're probably in for that amount, and it's fine.
To be fair, I was just at the time I was loving the game and the world so much that I was like, honestly, I just want more reasons to be playing. Which, to be fair, I could have had those because there's a free version of Battle Pass anyways, and none of like the quests or anything on the Battle Pass are paid. But I was like, I'll give them this. I just want more reasons to keep playing, you know? And like I did a boss fight last night for this huge wolf boss for the first time that had like Wildstar mechanics, which is an MMO that I used to really like, but is dead now. And I love that combat and that content. Like, it had insane like dungeon like mechanics, and like the phases kept ending. So like in the last like quarter of his health, he like pulled out all the sounds. I was like, holy shit! It was it's very good.
Do the combat abilities translate like the way you were talking about? You can, you know, get the enemies wet and then shock them with your bird that shocks them at a distance, kind of thing. Yeah. Do those combat abilities translate into the puzzles and the world exploration stuff? Like in Breath of the Wild, right? It's like if you light a fire,
very minimally, but yeah, that does exist.
Like if you light a fire of grass, you get a like plume of air rushing upward, and you can use that to launch yourself, right? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I would say it's more limited, but like that does exist.
Okay.
Like there are there's different things that you find. Like there's a certain type of crystal that I was like, how do I mine this? Like it's not working like normal. And then I shot it with fire and it like burnt, and then I was like, oh, cool. Okay. And then like that does exist. I wish I could think of more examples, but there definitely have been examples of like, oh, I wonder if
I guess I'd like to see that like as a expanded thing, right? Is like you take those abilities, like that ice ability or that electric ability, and like you can apply that to the world in a more loose way. That would be really cool.
Here's kind of it's not like a puzzle, but it's kind of using the elements. Like there's this secret quest on this out on this island that is like far out, and you can either go to a top of a mountain and glide down to it, but I don't have enough stamina to do that, or I saw somebody post a screenshot. He was like, fuck it, I'll do it the hard way. And he was using an ice character. And so I just went there, and because you can freeze the water. And walk on it. Okay. So I just froze the water and walked out there. It took a long time because it's like a 5-second cooldown on the ability. So I'd freeze it, walk up, wait, freeze it. But I got out to the island and whatnot. So you can interact with the world that way. When you shoot the grass, it goes on fire and it lights up enemies.
More of that stuff outside of combat, I think, would really like I'm interested now. But if I saw that, I would be like, oh, okay, I need to play this. Like that looks so fun.
That does exist. There is those things. Like there's certain chests that you can only get to like from the top.
Right.
Which like there sometimes around that area there's like 3 little dudes. I don't know what they're called, but they're like butterflies or something that are like wind things that you run into all 3 of them, and then it'll give you a burst of air and it'll help you like go up and come back down sometimes on the chest. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff like that, but yeah, don't expect like a ton of it, but there is some for sure. There are a lot of the in-world puzzles that I haven't really gone to because I'm just like, I'm mainlining this quest. I'll like see it in the over there, and it's like, oh, there's a chest that's locked, and all I have to do is go over and figure it out or defeat enemies, and then I'm like, but there's a keep running.
Speaking of Genshin's Impact, we're gonna
Whoa.
transition into news here.
It's Impact. Wow, you changed it to possessive too. Wow, that was great.
Yeah. So starting off the quick news, as Teddy mentioned, they plan to have how many regions?
I think 7.
7 regions? Okay, well, they have 3 updates planned before next March, which seems pretty aggressive for a game that just came out.
Yeah. I was happy when I looked at the outline and saw this news story on here. I hadn't actually read this one.
Yeah.
This is new, but there is one that also had this. Actually, there is a little bit of new info in here, but there was another one I saw like a week ago that had a lot of this information. It's pretty exciting. I'm very happy about it because they're releasing a new region in December, which I was like, oh, I did.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, cool.
That's
I
soon
didn't
enough.
know they were doing that much. The patch 1.1 is rumored to have like new characters, but there's definitely like new events in 1.1, stuff like that.
And then also Genshin has earned $100 million, which covered their development cost, and also they have over 20 million downloads now, which I think is across platforms, but maybe it's...
I think there was an original news story about how like even before the game came out on PC, there were at least like, well, it might have been PC and mobile, I don't know, but there were like 10 million accounts created, which you have to do to like preload the game. So there were like 10 million preloaded downloads before the game even came out, which is crazy.
It was also number 1 in 74 countries on the iOS platform.
Yeah. I will say on mobile doesn't support controller support natively, which is a bummer. I really hope they add that.
So yeah, Genshin it's rolling. It's working. People are playing.
I really want it to succeed and I want it to do well because it's very good. I don't plan on ever buying any of the wishes to get more characters, but like you can get those by playing the game. Like you can get that currency, and I've already done a few of those, like because I've been saving up to do like the 10 times wishes, and I've done like 3 or 4 of those and gotten different characters and whatnot. You can get those by playing the game. It's cool.
Other news: Rockstar, makers of Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto and Bully and
Tennis.
A tennis game, yeah.
Wait, was it table tennis or tennis?
I think it was
tennis.
Was it table tennis?
Yeah. Tennis Rockstar. It was table tennis.
Oh,
Rockstar Games presents table tennis, and it's ping pong.
Yeah. Makers of games such as Ping Pong. They acquired Ruffian Games, which are located in Dundee, Scotland. When I saw Dundee, I was like, is this like an Australian thing? But it's in Scotland. Nobody knows for how much, apparently, but they say, quote, "We are incredibly excited to be joining the Rockstar team." Ruffian co-founder Billy Thompson said, "Not only do we have the opportunity to work on some of the most successful entertainment properties in the world, but Rockstar's investment in our studio is a great sign for the continued expansion of game development here in Scotland." It's interesting because, like, I guess Rockstar is presumably working on a Grand Theft Auto at this point. They have GTA Online that's going. They have Red Dead Online. They're working on that. But yeah, whatever's next from them. I mean, everything they do is kind of the biggest thing now when they do it. So
yeah, I wonder if this is like a Ubisoft thing where you just have multiple studios all over the place working on different aspects of the game.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how Red Dead went. I think they have at least 3 North America studios.
Yeah, I think they definitely have multiple, but I guess this is just adding on another to help them with more resources. Yeah.
Roblox, popular gaming platform. I've played Roblox once or twice in my life. they are planning on creating a public offering, which is when, you become a publicly traded company on the stock market. So Roblox is big enough to do that, which
Oh yeah.
it's wild to me because I guess that's like, I'm not in the right demographic for Roblox, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, I feel like, heavily inspired by the idea of like what Minecraft created as far as
Yeah.
Creativity and making games and that kind of thing.
It's weird and insane how successful that game is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like you can go to Target and there's little Roblox action figures and they look like kind of off-brand Lego men, like
Oh yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's crazy. Roblox is one of those things that's like you don't think about, but is absolutely like one of the most profitable things in the video game industry.
Yeah, they were previously valued, I think earlier this year, at $4 billion, it said, based on private funding, and going public, potentially people think they can reach $8 billion in valuation, which is like,
that's nuts.
That's an insane amount of money.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it's, is it like $7.5 billion or whatever Microsoft paid for Bethesda?
That's true. Yeah. Roblox could have been, could be worth more.
What if Microsoft bought Roblox? Do it. You won't.
They should actually. That's hilarious. And then just like merge it with Minecraft.
It's just Minecraft now. Like it just becomes one thing.
Yeah. And lastly, in the quick news, this one goes out to Bryce, wherever you are. He's streaming his charity stream right now. Splatoween is back. Are you on Team Trick or Treat? I feel like the last 3 Splatfests, they were like, hey, this is the last Splatfest.
Yeah, that was like a year ago when they were like, hey, we're not doing anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I don't think there's any reason not to do them, though, so,
Yeah, I don't really get why you wouldn't.
Splatoween is here.
Good on them.
I guess I'd be on Team Treat.
Yeah, for sure. Who wants to be on Team Treat? Yeah, it's lame. If Treat doesn't win, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I would be too.
But then again, there are some tricksters out there, Oh. You never know.
We got in our, our more thorough news section. We call this the slow news. I don't know why, but we had the quick news because it's like the headlines, but
quick news and the slow news.
I call it maybe like the deeper dive news. We got a preview of some of the next-gen console UI and system features. Teddy, if you want to take us through that.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to go through the article that's like linked here in the outline for. I'll mention that. But like, I just want to go off of what I saw.
Yeah.
Right. What are your impressions, Matt, for this UI? We should go through that.
The video. So PlayStation put out a video going
11-minute video.
Some of the like, here's the core UI of the system and here's some of the newer features.
I was really surprised at like the detail and how long it was. Like, I don't know, when they unveiled, I figured it would be like, here's a 30-second to a minute long video of like, here's the main menu.
Yeah, here's a TikTok.
That's kind of what I expected. But no, it was an 11-minute demo of the UI.
So I watched it kind of in the background, so I was like looking on it, looking on, looking off, looking on, looking off. My main impression was like, okay, this is similar enough to their other one that like,
yes,
it's fine. It's not jarring.
There were a couple people that I saw that were like, oh man, it seems like they're just trying to do too much and it's gonna be too different. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the XMB.
Right.
Like, that's it. It's been the same thing since PS3, which is totally fine because it works.
Yeah.
The only difference when it comes to like the main menu, right? Like your main UI, the biggest difference there is just it's more visual. Like it's the XMB left and right, but it's more visual, and on each game there's more information. But if you look at the PS4, they've already been trying to do that. Like if you go down on your game on a PS4,
Right,
it
that
shows
exists,
like the
yeah.
add-ons. I think
shows,
it even shows like
friends
news
trophies.
and stuff.
It shows who's playing
Yeah.
what. Yeah,
Like it shows a game hub, which is what they're talking about here, where it's like a game hub.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It seems the main menu at least seems very much like what they have done.
I think a lot of this stuff has benefited from proliferation of like Netflix and like smart TV and like, you're interacting with a visual interface with a remote.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like the evolution from, like the PS3 XMB to where we are now. And then you look at something like the Epic Game Store launches, and then Steam goes and says, okay, we need to all overhaul ours because ours looks like crap now compared to theirs.
That was great.
Yeah. So it's like all these things I think are kind of informing each other into this kind of standard that we're used to.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm trying to think of the other things, and I'm looking at the article just to remind myself. The store is integrated now,
which is
they
great.
said it is
like, 'cause
integrated
that took forever
into the
to load.
system and not a separate app. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is awesome because the store is rough on PS4.
Yeah, it's rough even in app. Like if you do it on your phone, it's just like this takes forever. Everything on this is so slow.
Yeah, it's that's gonna be much better for sure.
I was also thinking like there's all these new features that the PlayStation's trying to integrate with like social related stuff, like walkthroughs and guides, and that feels like maybe they're trying to do too much in the sense that like chances are you have a phone or a tablet or a computer,
sure,
and you can do that.
Yeah,
you can Google walkthrough, of this game.
The idea, though, is that it's all right there.
Yeah, but it's also like navigating with your phone on a touchscreen is a way better experience than navigating with a game controller to do that sort of stuff.
I mean, it is if you're trying to be like, where do I find this exact thing?
Right.
If you're looking for more of an exact thing, but if you're struggling to get through a level or something, opening up in-game would probably be pretty good. My whole thing with that feature, so it's like when you're in the game, this is what they started off with. When you're in the game, they have the cards, one of which shows you like objectives that you're close to, and it will give you a personalized playtime estimate of like how much longer you have, like 10 minutes or whatever, to finish the level, which is really cool. I like that a lot. I hope they do that for full games because I want to know how long a game is. Like, that's great. And then
just
some
go to
are
how
like,
long to beat.
I know, which is what I already do. But if I can just
right, if I could just
that's
pop
awesome.
up the menu and it's like, you have 30 minutes until you're at your next.
That would be really
checkpoint.
cool. I like that feature. That's probably my favorite out of all of these. Then some of the other cards are like the help things. There's a lot on the cards. What else was it? You can, share your screen with a friend that you're in a party with.
Yeah.
And then, which this part is cool and shows a lot of potential, you can like pin it and make it smaller and whatnot and put it in the bottom right corner, bottom left, and top right and whatever. I like that because do you remember the Xbox Snap feature that they had?
I do not.
This was one thing that back in early PS4 Xbox One time, I was really jealous of the Xbox people because I played a lot of Destiny, and otherwise I'd had to do it on my PC, which is fine, I guess. But like at the time, I wanted it on the system. On Xbox, they don't have this feature anymore, but you used to be able to watch Netflix or YouTube or a video app and snap it to where you can play the game, and then on the right there's that. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. But on the Xbox UI, it would like completely just shrink the game a bit and move it over to the left, and your like right bar was the thing.
I've seen that. I've seen visual
and
of that.
It doesn't look great. Whereas this, I don't know if you can do it with video apps and whatnot, but if you can and just pin it and make it smaller and move it to the bottom right, it's not like it is over the top of your game, but like that's so much better. That's so much better.
I feel like that's like standard too. Like you watch a stream and there's a camera over the gameplay, right? Like a lot of the time, it's like whatever kind of. Yeah. Who cares if 10% of your screen is covered?
That kind of customization is available for like video apps and stuff instead of just sharing your screen. But I mean, I'm trying to think of anything else that they showed off.
They've upgraded the chat functionality, which is part of what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, the
remember
party
exactly
system.
what they did with the party system, but it almost sounded more like getting towards like a Discord level of, you know, chat
Yeah.
app.
It seems a lot faster to join parties and whatnot too, which is nice. I know that they kind of changed the party system on PS4 in preparation for this and kind of made a lot of people mad from what I've heard. Because it's like messaging and party systems are now all tied together. So in order to invite someone to your party, you have to like create a message group with them first, which is just unnecessary.
Right, that's an extra step.
Yeah. But overall, it's supposed to be easier on PS5.
We got also a look at the Xbox UI, which there's an October update that just happened. Or did it just happen? Or is it about to go out? Either way, it's coming. And it's happening ahead of the Series X and S launch, so it's across the Xbox family platform. But it's their new UI, and it looks pretty good. It looks, like like kind of a Netflix or I don't know, like smart TV style interface where it's very visual, very tile based. It's just like
yeah.
Xbox I think has had clear revisions too as they've gone from 360 to this point.
Yeah, to be fair, this Xbox UI is almost the same as what it was previously.
Yeah.
Like it's very similar. They've just updated. It looks like instead of like tabbing right to left for your different like groups of like Game Pass and store and community and stuff like that, it's like down instead. But it's the same kind of thing for sure.
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot with those UI, like usability spot with those UIs.
Yeah, I'm now kind of caught up in wanting a PS5 to be honest.
Really?
Because, like with this and with Miles Morales screenshots and clips. Fuck, I want Miles so bad. I want that game, and I know you can get it on PS4.
I know. I'll probably
but I'm
play it
not
on
gonna
PS4.
want to.
That's what I keep saying.
It's gonna be like when everybody came to my stream back in the day when I was playing Breath of the Wild, and they were like, "Oh, how are you enjoying your new Switch?" And I would hold up the Wii U gamepad and be like, "Well, sorry." It's gonna be like that. I don't want it to be like that because
I played
terrible.
Destiny 1 on PS3 for a full year.
Oh shit, that's
Took me
actually impressive.
3 minutes to open my inventory.
That's really impressive. This isn't a news story. It should have been in quick news. But Destiny 2, by the way, they confirmed on Series X, Series S, and PS5 is going to be 60 frames and an FOV slider. That's what's important.
Nice.
It's going to have both. So, yeah, if I was that's one of those things where like if I was getting a Series X this fall, I would just not buy Beyond Light because it's on Game Pass.
Right. Yeah, so
And
that's
then
cool.
there you go.
That's a reason I might
It's literally the same
dabble in
settings on
Destiny on
PC,
PC.
too. Yeah,
That's
it's the same settings because you have 60 frames and an FOV slider now too. I mean, on PC you can do more than 60, but still,
yeah.
it's fine. Close enough.
We're getting there. The consoles are PCs, and architecturally they're similar enough now, I guess. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The next time they open PS5 pre-orders, I might just do it and then find the money. I'll do Postmates. I'll figure it out. But I'm kind of getting caught up in the hype, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of it.
I think I
wanna
mentioned
play
on the
launch
last
games
episode,
and-
but the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, I've never bought a non-Nintendo console at launch. Like, I've only purchased Nintendo consoles at launch.
That's funny because I think my only experiences purchasing a console at launch is the Vita and the PS4. I saved up for both of them and went into GameStop and was like, here we go. And for the PS4 specifically, I remember like for my paycheck, I would just like take a percentage of it, come in and pay off a little bit more and more each month until it was paid off. And then, yeah, the day it came out, it was like so much fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would love to again with the PS5, but one, might not even become available again. Two, money. But I will say, I was thinking the other day, I was like, oh man, where am I going to find the $500? And then I was like, oh yeah, I want to get the digital one. So it would be $400. So that's not as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other big news item, I don't even know if it's really that big. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's Sega celebrating its 60th anniversary with a Steam celebration. So Sega announced that they are going to publish 3 games via Steam. They have a Yakuza-themed Streets of Rage mashup, appropriately titled Streets of Kamurocho. This comes news via IGN. So it's a 2D beat 'em up style game. It visually looks like Streets of Rage. And if you like Yakuza, I feel like you probably like this.
It's free too.
It's free.
Apparently.
They announced that they're going to release a prototype that was a canceled Golden Axe game they've titled it Golden Axed, which is
that's great.
Like they axed
that's
the project.
Awesome. I love that.
This looks like, I guess, 2.5D, so it's it's 3D graphics with a 2D camera.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like it's platforming combat. They described it as janky and buggy, but I also saw that they apologized for describing it as janky and buggy because it's a prototype, and the developers from the original developers were like, "What the hell?"
No, we take that back.
And the third game they announced is called Armor of Heroes, which is a tank battle game. It looks like it's top-down tank combat. And all of those are coming to Steam. Actually, I think this week it looks like. So that's pretty neat. And yeah,
the first Streets of Kamurocho is October 17th, and then
that's today as of recording.
Yeah. Golden Axe is Sunday, so the next day after we record, then the Armor of Heroes is the 19th, so Monday.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, you could go right now and get those games for free.
Get all three, man.
Congratulations,
so games.
Sega, on becoming a boomer, I guess, right? Is that how that works?
6 years old, definitely. Definitely a boomer.
Yeah, all right. That is the end of our news for this week. Did you know that we have a Patreon? Last Geek has a Patreon, patreon.com/lastgeek. If you go there for the low price of $5 a month, you become a Patreon producer and get a shout out on every episode of Ready Set Gamecast, like Aaron C. and Dragons Lucas did. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. It helps pay for equipment and stuff, as far as I know. I don't know what Bryce does with it. Maybe he just uses it to buy video games. But I think he does it to buy like audio equipment and things. So
yeah,
do that if you're interested. I think there's extra incentives to do it.
At $1 you get bonus content.
Just $1.
Each podcast, just $1. Each podcast will release at least one additional piece of content each year, so you can get more of those awesome peoples in your life. That is true. We do like exclusive Let's Plays and whatnot. You make Ready Set Gamecast possible at $5 a month. You're a Patreon producer, and then every episode we thank the Patreon producers. That's true as well. And then you can also do the same thing for Game Corp.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. In other housekeeping, we've got a new segment for Ready Set Game Chat next episode. Teddy, have you heard of Ready Set Game Chat?
I have heard of it. I'm not a part of it. I haven't done anything.
You could be
with
if you wanted
before. I could be, just like you listening.
We're gonna play Astrologaster, which is available on mobile and on PC. It's a Shakespearean comedy game, from what I understand, and I think you are trying to be a doctor via astrology.
Nice.
But we are going to talk about that game next week. All of us will have played it, and that'll be our third segment. I really like the game chat. We've done 2 so far. It's pretty cool because it's like we are just committing to playing a game, so then we can have like a thorough, spoiler filled conversation about it. So that's fun.
Cool. What other 2 games have you done?
The first one we did was After Party, and the second one was The Suicide of Rachel Foster, and both of those are
I've heard
on
really
YouTube
good things
now,
of both of those,
I believe.
Are they clipped out as like separate?
Yeah, so that's
See,
part of it. Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's what I was gonna suggest. I was like, that would be great to have as a separate thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't have access to the question document, so I don't know if we got any questions.
I do, and it does not seem like we do.
That's okay.
Except for, honestly, maybe me. I'm pretty sure I listened to the last episode, and Darian asked, like, oh, you can send in your questions and tell us your favorite birthday cake flavor. I think she said that.
That's right, because it was Bryce's birthday last time.
Yeah. So my response, I actually did have a response. Let me open that up and just read that from listener Teddy Chinaris. Said, just want you to know that my favorite birthday cake flavor is chocolate. As much chocolate as possible. All about it.
Okay, so you want chocolate cake, chocolate frosting, chocolate...
Dude, oh, yeah.
Detailing on top of that.
Woo! Absolutely. Just so good.
I can get behind that. I like chocolate.
Absolutely.
I like...
chocolate.
Man, I like frosting quite a bit. Like, some people really don't like frosting and they want cake. Like, if you can give me a piece with like a lot of frosting, I'm like, please.
I don't trust those people at all. Oh man, it's been a while since I've had a good cake.
I'm gonna ask. It's almost Halloween. We're on sweet stuff right now, talking cakes. What's your favorite Halloween candy? If you're trick or treating and you got your bag at the end of the day.
That was a long time ago.
Okay, 10 years ago, and you emptied your pillowcase.
I mean, back then it was Three Musketeers. I'm a big fan of Three Musketeers still. Like, it's simple, but I really like it.
I feel like every time I have a Three Musketeers, I'm like, this is really good, but I never, like, pick it out of a lineup, I'm just like...
I feel like it's one of the most... It's not a ton of chocolate, but it's, like, very... It's kind of simply just chocolate, So that's why I'm all about it.
I want anything with peanut butter, like
Reese's. Yeah. That was gonna be my number 2.
Tried and true. Any sort of
cups,
peanut butter chocolate combination, I'm there.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
All right.
That brings us to housekeeping. Go to lastgeek.com for links to the podcast on all your favorite services, including iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, as well as the video version where you can see our beautiful faces on YouTube. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes and Stitcher. It's super helpful, actually, to review the podcast and subscribe to the podcast. So please do that. It helps us grow and become more powerful.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, why is it helpful? Tell us why.
Other stuff you can check out. Dungeons and Gamers is a D&D session we've been playing. Teddy was on there for a little bit, but he has been written off on hiatus for now. He may return one day, but he gave me all his money, so I'm pretty happy with that. Man, it was nice of Rakuzen to give Morthos his share of the loot.
I didn't agree to that, actually. Wait.
That's what happens.
Wait a minute.
That's what happens. But we are recording a new session of that very soon, and those are rolling out on YouTube and podcast platforms as well. You can follow Dungeons Gamers on Twitter or find it on podcast services. Right now, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Bryce is doing a 24-hour Extra Life marathon. So if you're listening to this, you can go back and check the VOD on Twitch. He'll probably break some of it out for YouTube. I know Aaron's busy with editing a lot of stuff, so I feel like that's just a matter of time. But that Extra Life link is good all year. You can always donate, and it helps. It goes to a local hospital to him where his son was treated for cancer. And so he tries to continue to support that effort every year. So if you have, a couple extra bucks, send them that way, send it through Extra Life. It goes and helps. It helps a great deal. Teddy, where can people find you these days when you're not showing up on RSG.
Oh yeah. Twitch.tv/Teddy Chinaris, and then the same on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Search out Tyson and Teddy Talk the 100 if you enjoy a show on the CW called The 100, which is now over. That podcast is also over, but we went through season 7 of that show and went through each episode and recapped it and whatnot. I think we're thinking about starting something else.
So did you do the whole show?
No, just season 7.
Just season 7.
Just the last season, and we did that like weekly as they came out, but like we're thinking about going back and just doing the other 6 seasons. That would take forever.
Yeah.
But thinking about it, because it would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good kind of product that can live and people can revisit that as they find that show or something like that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think I am going to put this on that feed though. Before we recorded the last episode, we had talked about this beforehand, because usually when we sit down to record an episode, we end up talking for like 30-45 minutes about other shit, about video games and just catching up on each other's lives and whatnot before we record the actual episode. So I told him, I was like, Tyson, next time we sit down, I'm just gonna like open OBS and just hit record, and then maybe just post it. Just call it Tyson and Teddy BS, and then that's it. So that is like uploaded to my private, uploaded as private on my YouTube channel. And I think I was just gonna say Tyson and Teddy BS, but I think I might just change it to Tyson and Teddy Talk. Just that's it. Because it was just an hour long of us talking about like the MCU randomly, and like, so I genuinely think that's like a really good conversation. I think people would enjoy it and find it funny. I think I'm gonna put that up on the RSS feed for the Tyson and Teddy Talk the 100 as well, and my YouTube channel, and probably Tyson and Teddy Talk, which is also a YouTube channel. So
nice.
I might even create an RSS feed for it just for in case in the future. But yeah, it'll go up on a bunch of stuff, so look for that.
You can find Teddy there. And I am here on RSG. I am also on Dungeons and Gamers. I will probably be back on Twitch at Dilbert Pickled very soon. I'm like, I don't know if I said this on the show earlier, but I was talking to Teddy about how I'm currently working on my office room, and I'd hope to get things back up and running there in like a gaming sense. I think I miss streaming a little bit, you know, playing a game a couple hours a week.
Yeah, it's fun.
So it's just a fun time.
It's a good time all around, you know?
Yeah. Hopefully I'll see you guys there soon. Anyway, that's going to do it for us this week. Have a great time, and we'll see you in November. Bye.
Ooh, after the spooky season. Bye.
Ooh.
Ooh.